belabor the particulars of the State of the Union address this year, as the overall impression to take away is that it was almost exactly the tactic Trump took 1 year ago, only to a cartoonish extreme. You can watch my rant from last year, Spite of the Union I believe it's called, if you want to refresh your memory if you fucking like, but the cliff notes are as follows. Trump won bigly last year by praising puppies and rainbows and all things cuddly and cute, and let the Democrats scowl and sneer their way to irrelevance, hoisting themselves by their own petard all the while. This year, in clear recognition that this tactic was an utter success, he decided to do it even fucking more, and Nancy Pelosi bit down on that bait hard. Folks, I fucking recognize that the State of the Union is a dog shit and pony show. Is Trump dragging out the wife of an Iranian hostage political theater? Yes. Is Trump reuniting a military vet with his fucking family on live TV like Oprah holding a husband sweepstakes, an obvious political stunt for the State of the Union? Yes. He's playing the same game Obama and every other president did and doing it damn well. Much better than Nancy Pelosi for a fucking fact. Which is why, for a woman of her political vintage to become so embroiled in her own pre-speech edict of sit there, look incredulous, and whatever you do, don't goddamn clap, in essence, to work herself into appearing to be opposed to returning soldiers, black scholarships, and a record fucking economy, may be the single biggest blunder of Nancy Pelosi's career. And that's saying something for a woman who got her start in the same 70s California machine that made Jim Jones the housing commissioner of San Francisco. Illegally, might I add. Fuck, that's saying about 17 different things, given just her recent record. But mostly what it says is Nancy Pelosi somehow hustled herself into looking absolutely abominable last night, and no two ways about it. You can agree with her politics, disagree with them, fuck, you can knit her a Karl Marx moo-moo for all the fucking me. There's no other way to spin refusing to clap for veterans and fucking toddlers, but bitter and petty. It's a look so bad I'm surprised her surgeon didn't come up with it. Think about it. Impeachment or no, election or no, it costs you precisely nothing to just stand and clap for someone we all agree is a hero seeing his kids for the first time in fucking years. It at least allows you to look like the adult in the room. You know, all that solemn and serious shit you were preaching all of a fucking week ago? That shit. Everyone can shriek about shredding the speech, but I actually think that'll play pretty well with the more unhinged elements of her own party. That ain't the overall error here. The error is simple. Sitting stoic while perfectly innocuous shit like street cleaning initiatives and improving infrastructure, never mind a fucking family being reunited, looks A1 fucking terrible in any context. That's the tale of the tape here. Fucking period. Given the discipline required to remain stationary for all that fluff, it's clear you were coached at least a little bit. So who the hell's coaching you on your optics, Matt Murdock? Now, that isn't to say it was an unrelenting dicking for the Dems. They did exactly one thing right all night, at least from an optical standpoint, and unsurprisingly, it was also the thing they probably wanted to do the least. For among the sea of sourpusses, you may have noticed one Democrat senator, albeit a unelected one, hailing from my home state of Arizona, Kyrsten Sinema, who actually had the gumption to stand and clap a couple times. And by a couple, I mean a couple. And by gumption, I mean she couldn't have been playing to the cameras any more obviously if she were in clown face and fucking stilts. And while I suspect Sinema was eyeing any opportunity to break with the pack as a subtle nod to her very red home state that she's not the raving socialist loon her actual voting record would lead you to believe, if you actually watch the fucking thing, she sat with her thumb up her ass while Trump announced plummeting unemployment, returning veterans, and the evils of socialism, just like everyone else on her side of the chamber of horrors.
I want you to know we will never let socialism destroy American health care.
But what did I say at the outset? The State of the Union is pure political theater. If you honestly believe any of this shit, up to and including Nancy shredding the speech, was caught on candid camera, I got a book of great French military strategies to sell you. You'd see more unbridled spontaneity than a Nazi line dance. I about laughed my lungs to full collapse when I heard people express solidarity with Sinema, conservatives no less, when at last year's Spite of the Union she stood, clapped, and was promptly warned to, quote, Watch her ass. What fortune for her prospects in a state that overwhelmingly disagrees with her leftist policies that the entire episode just happened to be captured before rolling fucking video cameras. This ain't the Robert F. Kennedy experiment. If you rightly believe Trump inserted all that soaring rhetoric about civic food programs and brave families of returning Iraq vets as a canny maneuver to make Democrats look like shit when they refuse to fucking clap for it all, then you must similarly accept the reality that the ongoing Kyrsten Sinema saga, where she boldly stands against her own party at the State of the Union, while voting with them overwhelmingly in Congress, is also for Arizona voters' benefit.
Kyrsten Sinema, neither confirming or denying that one of her Democratic colleagues warned that she appears too supportive of the president.
I think you've been reading too many right-wing blogs.
Look, the mainstream media picking up this fake narrative, I get. They were given their marching orders on Sinema months ago. We all know it. But people on the right pushing this pablum that Sinema is the only true Republican senator Arizona's had in years, open your eyes about this broad and cut it the fuck out already. Because Arizona does have a relatively conservative senator at present. Her name's Martha McSally, and she's up for re-election this year against a gun-grabbing fucking fake astronaut. I wasn't the biggest McSally fan to begin with. She used to be a McCain protege. But to date, in the Senate, she actually done good.
Does the Senate consider new evidence as part of the impeachment trial? You're a liberal. You're not going to comment, Senator, about this?
If you can stop slobbering over the Democrat who subsists on diet pills and Soros spunk long enough to put her back in office, you'll find McSally voted with Trump around 90% of the time. Sinema, by the by, somewhere around 53%. And adding up her totals in the House knocks that down to 19, barely enough for Onision to lose interest. They can clown her up like the only clean whore in Bangkok and shriek the word McCain-esque all they like. The woman kicked off her reign in the Senate by voting to uphold late-term and induced birth abortion. Boy, that moderation goes down smooth, don't it? That lone bit of shrewd manipulation notwithstanding, this was a disaster for the DNC, and no mistake. The culminating one, might I add, following Monday's Iowa afterbirth and Trump's mathematically guaranteed acquittal in the coming days. The DNC have been pounded so hard over the last week, if they were a woman, their pussy would look like Steven Tyler whistling. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
She says she does, I know she won't. She'll never satisfy. She's gonna leave you down. You better take it from me.
Senator Jackie Rosen, a Democrat from Nevada, tells Sinema to watch your backside.
I actually don't know what Jackie said. I was really paying attention to the president's speech.
Bullshit.